Oh, I have been told that so many times that I am people's heroes. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a real, actual theater hero with us in the neighborhood. By the way, I am Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And I am delighted and thrilled to be talking to this man who 50 years ago founded an off-Broadway theater called the New Federal Theater in order to give women and people of color a chance to do theater. He's tapping on his cell phone as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little bit about this man. This theater that he founded has brought out works by Entezaki Shangi, Charles Fuller, Ed Bullins, as well as actors like Morgan Freeman, Samuel L. Jackson, Debbie Allen, Felicia Rashad, Chadwick Boseman, and Denzel Washington, who, by the way, Woodie King Jr. directed on Broadway in a cute comedy called Checkmates. As a director, this man has worked at Atlanta's Alliance Theater, Washington, D.C.'s Arena Stage, Cleveland Playhouse, Indiana Repertory, Jiva in upstate New York, the Northlight Theater in Chicago, and he has won an Obie Award all the way back in 1997. They already gave him an Obie for sustained achievement. Plus, he is a member of the American Theater Hall of Fame. So if you go to the Gershwin, not that anybody's going to the Gershwin Theater at the moment, but if you did, you would see his name on the wall. Won't you please welcome to the neighborhood and a big shalom to you, Woodie King Jr. Shalom, Woodie. How are you?
Okay, Dave. Okay.
I'm actually, this is Rabbi Sol Solomon. Dave is the producer of the program.
Okay, well, he's the one who sent me the all the information.
Oh, good. Well, so you can even call me Brother Sol. So,
okay, Brother Sol.
We bond that way. This is good. So first of all, how are you? Are you healthy? Are those around you healthy in these crazy times?
I'm as healthy as can be. I am healthy, I am wealthy, and I'm wise, I think.
You got wealthy from directing one show on Broadway. How did you get wealthy doing off-Broadway theater? Or are you just joking?
I'm joking.
Oh, yes, New York.
Metaphysical.
You're metaphysically well. You're wealthy in all the things that count.
Yes.
Soul and spirit. So
yes.
Tell me, and how are things? First of all, I heard Dave mention before that you in October your theater company did a couple of readings online just to keep things going, just to remind people, hey, we're existing during a pandemic. What is New Federal Theater up to, either during COVID or planning for late 2021 into 2022?
Since the COVID, we've been doing readings. We've been doing virtual plays. We did plays in October, 5 plays by major American writers during Black History Month. This year, we're going to do a revival of When Chickens Came Home to Roost, about Malcolm X and the meeting between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. We're going to do that. And during Women's History Month, we're going to do Hospice by Pearl Clegg and Black Girl by J.E. Franklin. So we are busy during the pandemic. We are programming. We are trying to raise money to keep our theater above the ground. Our 50th anniversary, which I am here to talk about, is good. It's on schedule. That's being directed by Dean Irby, and we have 9 people who are getting awards from the theater. It's all virtual. And those 9 people are Felicia Rashad, Glenn Turman, Douglas Turner Ward, Beth Turner, Ron Himes. Okay, people like that.
Am I getting an award? Do you have anything set aside for me, like a little statuette? No.
Yeah, we're gonna give them a plaque.
There you go. Because I've had plaque here, and the dentist can't get that out.
No, not that kind of plaque.
My fault.
Yeah.
So how is, we have a question already from the gallery here of how is it, have you directed some of these readings, or are other people directing it?
No, I get other people to direct the readings.
Oh, all right.
I give African Americans and women an opportunity to direct readings. For the first 25 years of our theater, we were located in Henry Street Settlement on the Lower East Side. And down there, we have a different population. So we deal with different people and the problems within the play.
Well, where did you move after the Henry Street? Are you in Castillo, or where'd you guys go?
We're in Castillo now. We've been there since for 5 years.
Oh, okay, great.
After Henry Street Settlement, we moved across the street and around the corner to St. Augustine's Church and the theater in that church. And we were there for many, many years. But now we are at Castillo on 42nd Street, West 42nd Street.
Now, let me ask you a question, because we know that, pardon me, the phlegm, that the Broadway theaters are not even thinking of opening until June. Meanwhile, you got a lot of these off-Broadway theaters that are banding together to sue New York State just to say, we can open. We don't have to be full, because we're grant driven. We can have 30 people in the house and be distanced and open safely. Why won't you let us do what we do? Where do you stand on that?
I don't stand on that at all. I think it's a mistake.
Okay.
I think it's a mistake. I think they should do it virtual and during the pandemic. I mean, we should not take chances on people's lives. If they say do not gather, we should not gather. It's like the restaurants are facing the same thing. Anytime you go in a restaurant and you can't sit down and eat, they must be facing the same thing. And they are much, much, much smaller.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree on that score, but also they would say, well, then how come you can walk into a Target or a supermarket and be surrounded by people with masks, and then that's okay?
But you gotta go out, you gotta take it out and get out of there.
Yeah, but you can walk around the supermarket for an hour, nobody's gonna throw you out, and the aisles are like this. So you're passing somebody with a fat tuchus, and they're there, and they're bending. Is like, hello.
I don't go to Target. I order from Amazon. I order online.
Well, I have another question from the gallery. What? Well, this is the question that we're going to get to in the initial stages of founding and funding the new federal theater. I mean, what was it? You had an idea. You wanted to give people a chance who weren't getting a chance to be heard on or whatever was off Broadway back then. So how did it all come together? How did it start 50 years ago?
I was running a youth program and mobilization for youth. And the director of mobilization for youth moved to Henry Street Settlement. And he asked me to come there with him. And by coming there with him, he said, we will give you the theater to work with, and we will give you a bookkeeper, an accountant, and fiscal services. Okay. And so I went there, and then I named the theater the new Federal Theater after the old Federal Theater under the Roosevelt administration.
Right. The work's progress.
That was 1935 to 1939. It flourished very well, and they did unbelievable, visible work with a unit called the Negro Unit. And so in that Negro Unit, our first couple of years, I would try and do one play from that unit and revive them at Henry Street. And they proved to be very popular. And the new Federal Theater won a lot of awards because we had a lot of critics from the Times. Village Voice was operating then, The Villager, and a lot of newspapers on the Lower East Side, operated. So that's how we came to be. And we got our first federal state money. The state money came from the New York State Council on the Arts because Vinette Carroll, the late Vinette Carroll was the head of something called the Ghetto Arts Program. And they gave us money. And thereafter, I don't want to say he's a friend, but he became a friend at the Rockefeller Foundation. Howard Klein.
Because they have a Jew and a Rockefeller. You're set. You have a Jew in your corner, You're good. There you go.
Always been in my corner.
Yeah. Can I ask you, especially in those early years, did you ever have to deal with terrible racial issues or problems from white, or they just left you, you had a theater, you were doing your thing, no problems?
Yeah, I had problems. You have problems now even getting money.
Oh, well,
You have problems getting money from major funders because now they're all white controlled. All the funders, whether you go to local, nationally, or international, they are white controlled, and they need long explanations. If you're doing a play on Harriet Tubman, they need 2 hours explanation. If you're doing a play on W.B. Du Bois, they need a play. If you're doing a play after Crystal Night, they need explanations because they don't know. They are of a younger generation. They don't know. And if you sit there as a Black guy, wow, what is that? The first thing, what is that about?
Wow. Yeah, well, all right. I have to admit, W.E.B. Du Bois is not necessarily as known as Malcolm X.
No, that's not
or as that. Well, it is true within the common, non-Black circles. I mean, everybody knows who Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was.
Yeah, if you're running a theater,
Yes.
if you're running a theater and you get a brilliant play about Malcolm X, then why should, if I tell the funder, I want to do this play, and this is the play, I give you a copy of it, they don't want to read the play. They want a proposal indicating the length of the play, and the proposal is almost the size of the play.
And projecting how many audience members, how much will they pay to get in? Are you going to sell snacks? I mean, it's going to be all about this peripheral stuff that a funder wants to know, well, what are they going to do with my money? But what I don't understand.
Not their money.
What?
It is not the funder's money. It is the people sitting behind the desk. Rockefeller willed the money 75, 80 years ago.
But what I don't understand is you have a theater company. So don't you as a company just go like that and say, here's what we do. We put on plays about the Black and female experience, as opposed to individual plays where you have to explain, oh, we're doing this one this year. I would figure as a theater company, you're just going for grants based on that rather than individual works. No?
No, it's about the individual works.
Huh. So in other words, if you had a play about Harriet Tubman come in, you would specifically target grants that would fund things like stuff about Harriet Tubman.
Yes.
That is how it works. All right.
That's how it works now in 2021, 2020.
In 50 years you've been running it, were there ever times when you thought we're 1 month away from our last ability to do anything? Money's run out, we're in terrible trouble, unless we get an angel funder, investor, we're dead in the water, and then you pulled out of it.
No, I've never been there.
Great.
I've been close, but never that close.
Good.
I'm in a position, so as the producing director of New Federal Theater, I have a great executive director and a new artistic director. So it's not that crucial now. It might have been 25, 30 years ago, but we were doing 7 or 8 plays 25 years ago. All the theaters on the Lower East Side that did plays were going to be razed or demolished or what have you, and they would come to me and say, you can have it for a year while we think about it. And we would get it for little or nothing, just cleaning it up, and have a cleaning crew come in and make it presentable and paint it.
Instead of paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent, you had a space where you could do a show for 4 or 6 weeks.
Yes.
I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, because people would come to you as an example of saying, how do you keep a theater going for 50? So many theaters They last 20, 30 young people. They come in there, they're excited about doing theater, but then they get jobs in Hollywood or they start falling out with each other. And
That's true.
it goes
That's
away.
That's
But
true.
yours still hangs together, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
That's true. I don't know if you remember a theater company called the American Jewish Theater.
Of course, Stanley Brechner. Yeah.
Stanley Brechner. He worked with me for years.
So what is different about your theater that both the American Jewish Theater and Jewish Repertory Theater both could not continue?
Well, when Stanley left, there's nobody with that energy, that urgency. You gotta get replacements with energy and with urgency and the need to tell the story.
Now, I know but how old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
83.
You're 83. God willing, you should live to 123.
Yeah, I will be retiring June 30th.
Wow. Oh, so this new artistic director, what's the person's name you mentioned?
Elizabeth Van Dyke.
Something Van Dyke, I missed it.
Elizabeth
Van Dyke, all right. So is she?
No, I'll still be on the board.
Yeah.
I will remain on the board.
But do you have confidence that once you step away, once you retire, the energy, etc., will be there to keep New Federal?
Yes.
Well,
Jonathan Slaff knows her well. Your friend. You know Jonathan Slaff, right?
Well, yes, he's a press agent and wonderful guy. Yeah,
he's our press agent.
Yes, yeah, he's a terrific. He actually did some work for me when I was doing my off-Broadway show.
When was that? What did you do off?
Oh, it was a work of genius. Oh, I'm so glad you asked. It's called Shalom, Damn It, an evening with Rabbi Sol Solomon. And we did it at a place called the Richmond Shepherd Theater, which no longer exists, and the Roy Arias Theater, which
the Roy Arias.
Yeah, well, he's retired in like the Dominican Republic or something now, but somebody else owns that theater. Look, if you ever need a Jew doing theater in your theater, I'll bring my show back tomorrow. I'll do it in front of nobody, just empty seats. I'll just do it because I miss doing it. Oh, I love that show. It's brilliant.
Okay.
Which actually brings up a thing, because you can watch a version of my show that they taped at the Richmond Shepherd Theater, which, speaking of the Lower East Side, and you can watch it on YouTube. Just look for Shalom, Damn It. What about shows that were done over the years at New Federal? What kind of, because when I actually saw you being interviewed on a documentary about Win Handman of the American Place Theater, and they have a little bit of archival footage of shows that were done at the American Place over the years. Is there an archive? Is there a repository of video of shows from 70s, 80s, 90s at New Federal?
It might be an archive, but I've turned them over to the Detroit Public Library and the New York Public Library.
Yeah. So people can go up on 65th and see, these plays.
They can't see them. They can read them, and they can read the reviews.
But did you tape any?
No, they weren't taped back then.
Are you doing it now? Are you doing it in the last 10, 15, 20 years?
I put the link to the new website.
No, we don't tape. I've done films on Black theater in America. They can see that.
Right.
Films I did away from the job. They can see a documentary on me. King of Stage, they can do those kind of documentaries that other people did on me. But
King of Stage, I did not know about that. I want to see that now. Absolutely. Because in this pandemic, all I've been doing is going to Broadway HD and YouTube and then watching like the Mint Theater, the off-Broadway theater, the Mint. They tape.
Yeah, I know the Mint.
Yeah, well, they tape their stuff. And you can go and you can watch productions that closed. Before they were done 2, 5, whatever years ago, and they're there, and you can watch and enjoy the production that was done. I kind of recommend, since you don't have to deal with that many unions.
See, the unions won't let us tape stuff like that, except during the pandemic. You have to pay a great deal of money to tape, because it's a film to them. It's and we use all union members.
Wait, are you off or off-Broadway?
Off-Broadway.
What, single off, not off. You're off, so yeah, there are a ton of them. Oh, so you're in 99, wait, 101 seat. How many seats are in?
99 or less for us because we're on 42nd Street.
So you can be technically, well, 99 means off-Broadway. 98 would be off-off. So am I right about that? Am I right?
No, you're not right.
Oh, what happened with that? That used to be the rule.
No. Equity is actors, and they set up the rules. You could be in a 70-seat theater and be paying a great deal of money for actors, and
Really?
more if it's taped.
Well, so do you pay, and you pay your act. You are then an equity house. Everybody gets paid, I guess.
Yes, pension and welfare and salaries.
Huh. I think that makes it even more amazing that you guys have lasted 50 years, because other places, they don't pay the actors. They have to pay the designer a little bit and the work crews and things like that. And they got to pay for insurance, but at least they don't have to pay the actors every week. You guys do.
Yes. And take out taxes, negative unemployment, all of that.
What are one or two of the plays that you either liked the best or are most proud of in your overseeing tenure at New Federal?
Well, I love For Colored Girls Who've Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough.
I love them too. What about the play? No, just kidding there.
I loved, a year and a half ago, we did a play, Looking for Leroy. I love that.
Wow.
And the award-winning plays was Black Girl, won a Drama Desk Award. Ed Bullins, The Taking of Miss Janie, won the Drama Critics Circle Award.
But that's pride in an external thing. That's, oh, it was good, so the critics liked it. I'm saying what shows really connected to you.
I'm saying I don't do them if they don't connect with me.
That's fair. All right.
If they don't connect, I don't do them. You know?
Let me ask, when you were first learning the ropes, because I think I read you were a draftsman, so that really helped you, design and do and build and things like that. But you were also taught theater stuff by the likes of Helen Hayes and Vincent Price. Is this true? Did you?
Yeah, I went to Willoway School of Theater in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan.
Tell me some memories of Michigan and of learning from those people.
Okay, well, the theater was run by a very aged lady named Teresa Way Merrill and her daughter, and they ran this theater called Willoway School of Theater. And Teresa Way Merrill worked with Jesse Bonstell, and his name was very famous in this old theater hierarchy. And so I got a scholarship. But being African-American, you could do monologues, you could do epilogues and all of that, but you could not act on stage with white women. And so they would critique me in a monologue. So they would come in for each person would come in back in those days, 1 to 3 weeks, and they would work with you. And that was it. They didn't all come in at the same time. Basil Rathbone, the late Basil Rathbone.
Wow. So do you remember any advice you got as a performer from Basil Rathbone, from Helen Hayes, from Vincent Price, any of them?
Yeah, well, the best advice I got was from the late Harold Clurman.
Yeah, speaking of off-Broadway, yeah.
No, he was Broadway. He taught at the Actors
Studio. Named after him was on Theater Row. That's
the name of the theater, named after him.
Right.
But back then, it was him. He said, come to New York and look me up. He introduced me to Wynn Handman at the American Plays Theater, And so coming in from Detroit, I didn't graduate Wayne State University. I graduated Lehman College and Brooklyn College. And I got 4 or 5 honorary doctorates. So it's a different kind of experience. And so Harold Clurman and I, when he went to see a play off Broadway or on Broadway, he would invite me along.
Wonderful. I mean, and by the way, speaking of name dropping, someone that you, I guess, would have considered a friend was the writer Langston Hughes.
Yes.
Do you have any memories, any thoughts about him?
Yeah, I'm published in his book of short stories. And he was wonderful. He was absolutely, you couldn't tell when he was joking or when he was for real. But what you remember is when he smoked, the ashes did not fall off of his cigarette.
He just had that special way. Yeah.
That's what you can remember. He could smoke a cigarette down halfway and the ashes would still be there on the end. I don't know how that happened.
Now, let me also ask you one of the things that you were able to do, because it's like, okay, there's funding and they gave you a space to work, and then in fact you came out of the youth thing, but these things eat up money. Theater just devours money. And one of the ways that you were able to fund your theater was by doing a lot of TV commercials.
Yes.
And there's a funny way you talked about doing TV. There was something you discovered about how to do them, and you got hired to do a whole bunch of them. So can you tell us a little bit about that experience and just your special way of understanding what a TV commercial is and what it wants from you?
I don't know what you mean. I didn't put my money into the theater. I didn't put my dollars. I put my time. I put time in it and didn't get paid, but I didn't put money in. If I did a commercial, that went into my bank account.
So that allowed you to run a theater without being paid by the theater thing. I'm sorry, I thought you also, you kind of funded or self-funded a little bit of it. I guess you did, which is wonderful. From
Willoway, I learned to get a board of directors early.
Mm-hmm.
I learned to listen to them. And I learned to work with people who had vast amounts of experience. The reading of the plays I did myself, the finding the director and finding the actors, because you understand, in 1970, African Americans in theater they had proliferated and there was no place to work. So I was one of the 3 or 4 theaters there.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, I guess Negro Ensemble was at that point.
Yes,
there.
Negro Ensemble.
And La Mama wasn't particularly black. It was just La Mama. It was everything. It was experimental.
Yeah.
Who else was there? What other theaters?
Roger Furman.
Yeah.
The Roger Furman.
Roger Furman.
Theater.
Uh-huh.
The Black Arts Repertory Theater in Harlem. The National Black Theater in Harlem.
Well, they're still there. They're
Yes.
still around. Yay
Yeah.
on that. Cool. But I was also asking about the commercial thing because you had some advice for people. Maybe I read it wrong or something, but there was a certain thing in 30 seconds. You broke it down as to what a director of a commercial looks for.
Yeah.
So can you, it was just fun the way you broke it down where I read it or saw it or something.
Well, you sell personality, a 30 seconds commercial. You sell personality, yourself. You sell the product for 30 seconds. And nowadays, you sell yourself, you sell the product, and you sell the environment. It's harder now.
What do you mean by the environment?
Well, let's say you're doing a Charmin.
Oh, I do it every morning, several times, yes.
Well, you got to show where you are. The camera got to show where you are. And if you're in the backyard.
With Charmin, that's a little, all right, yeah.
No, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, you can be in the backyard with some Charmin towels, washing your hands, and then you sell. That's the environment.
Oh, all right. Okay. It's just, I like the idea that you have 30 seconds. That first 12 is about who you are. Yeah. And the next 10 or something or 8 is about the product. And then there's something you broke it. I just found it kind of fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Now, we talk a lot about, I have been talking a lot about your.
Harold Clurman taught me that.
Who did?
Harold Clurman
Harold
taught
Clurman.
me that.
Well, speaking of moving away from theater for just a minute, because you have directed a film or two. You directed a documentary about Malcolm X. And I'm wondering, in doing that and researching that, what were things that surprised you about Malcolm X?
Okay, you gotta understand, I grew up when Malcolm X was alive and moving about. I was living in New York when Malcolm X was shot at the Audubon Ballroom. I was, so it's not foreign to me. It was the difficult thing about finding a Malcolm X, someone to play Malcolm X. And we got Morgan Freeman. That was before he was famous. And the difficult part is he would not cut his hair.
Was he doing the electric company at that point? I mean, he just, what do you have, like braids at that point, or just a fro? What did he have?
A Marcel head.
Oh, he had the like that, yeah. And he just refused to. All right.
He refused.
What did you do? You went with it? You just say, okay, this will be Malcolm X with Marcel hair.
I did not call it Malcolm X. I called it Prophet Minister. So everybody knew what we were dealing with.
Yeah.
It was not. It was a prototype of Malcolm X.
I'm kind of curious, since we're delving into this a little bit, where do your sympathies more lie as a person, as a person of color? Are you more of a Malcolm guy or a Martin Luther King guy, or it's not fair to, you're both?
I'm both.
Okay. Could one have existed without the other?
I don't know. I really don't know. I know, I believe some of the things that each one of them said, but I read it and find out myself.
This is the way you do
research, huh?
I've
always done my own research.
So let me ask you a question, probably the darkest question of this interview, because I go dark, I go deep. I'm that kind of guy. But one of the things that bothers me personally, for obvious reasons, is the wave, if you will, of Black anti-Semitism. It's there. It's, whether Ice Cube is putting up stuff in Twitter, or you've got these basketball and football players who are saying these things. And quite honestly, I have to say, you were friends with Leroy Jones, or Amiri Baraka, who towards the end of his life, start writing poems about how Jews were celebrating on 9/11, which was a little bit of horseshit. So let me ask you, what's up with that? What is the schism? What happened?
You have to tell me the poems he wrote where Jews were celebrating, Jews were celebrating. I have never read a poem where Jews were celebrating on 9/11 that he wrote.
Well, he said something. There was one.
No. You would have to say, Woody, it's in this book, blah, 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 blah. And I will go and read it for myself.
I'll email you after, because I remember reading that line that stands there and being like, well, screw him with all the rest. But you were friends with the guy. So you don't see he was had a racist bone in his body. But I want to know, what's the deal? How did we grow so far apart, if you will, from the 1960s when we seemed really, really close together?
I don't know. I've never been apart. Well, I don't know.
Because you work in theater and it's full of Jews. You have to be. It goes all together.
Well, he worked in theater. He wrote all these plays that I did.
But I'm talking not just him. I'm talking about the current, this wave, this undercurrent of Black people finding Jews international conspiracists and moneymakers. Well, we do all the funding. So what's the deal? Do you have an ear to the pipeline of that? Because I speak for all.
The resurrection in the Capitol with the signs and all of that on Wednesday.
Oh, well, yeah. What about it? That I don't get it. What about it?
Those were there was no Black people there.
No, certainly not. Those were crazy people. What about it?
Okay, but why are they crazy? Why no one talked about the Jews there? No one talked about the Confederate flag there. No one talked about whether the nationality of the people there. And that was that was a really a kind of revolution.
In a very tiny, easily put downable way. And by the way, if you read the news and the stories, I'm sorry to say there were a lot of Orthodox Jews there. They were on the, they have somehow bonded, I mean, a very small group of them, with the Proud Boys. Somebody explain this shit to me. So
Well,
how does that happen? It's like, oh, Mengele, hi, I'm Isaac. What the, so I'm just wondering if you had.
I'm not going to do a play about that. I tell you that.
Do it, please, please.
I'm not going to do it.
I mean,
I will let an Orthodox Jew do that play.
That's fair. Well, I mean, I can tell you right now that the Orthodox support Donald Trump because he supports very strongly Israel, and we're very okay with that, and I'm very happy about that. But that's for another conversation, another time. Let's get back to directing on Broadway in a very cute show that the producer, my friend Dave, who hosts the show, saw on Broadway and was surprised that it wasn't a bigger hit. They were called Checkmates.
Yeah.
That was, I feel, or he feels that was an attempt to kind of do the Neil Simon thing, a nice boulevard comedy, but for a Black audience, to bring Black middle-class people and upper-class people to the theater, just like Jews would run and see 2 Neil Simon shows every year. Was that kind of the intent of bringing Checkmates to Broadway?
No.
Oh.
Philip Rose, a Jew, was one of the producers of that play. He saw it in San Francisco when I did it in San Francisco. And he said, wow, if you can get some stars, because we need stars, we'll do it. So I called up Denzel, called up Miss Ruby Dee and Paul Winfield. And the only thing about that was that the young girl, she had to resemble Denzel's wife in real life. And that's why Marsha Jackson got the role. And she had done it in Atlanta, Georgia. So it's internal conflicts and mechanisms at work. You learn all these things that are at work. The Schuberts, we were in a Schubert theater. No one from the Schubert organization came. Roy Somio signed the checks. Roy Somio paid the bills, and he was just a general manager. So that's what you learn. You learn the mechanisms of Broadway. You learn the how it works, and you learn the number of people necessary behind the scenes to make it work. The number of carpenters, the number of costume sewers, and the number of understudies. You learn all that. But a full character play might have 4 understudies.
Well, yeah. But then the thing is, that was almost 30 years ago. Were you going through that experience, you didn't want to do Broadway again, or you didn't get the opportunity? Or I would seem once you get a directing credit on Broadway, you kind of...
But I owned the play. They had to option it from me because I optioned it from the writer.
Great, well, good for you. But you went back to working at New Federal. You didn't...
I never stopped working at New Federal.
I know, but you didn't start working more on Broadway. Was that a decision that you decided, I don't want to deal with Broadway, I'm happy at my theater? Or, oh, I wish I could option more show. I wish I could get more stuff on Broadway, but it's just not happening.
But see, now we tried out Checkmates in Atlanta, Chicago, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, LA, 5 cities before, and Philip Rose saw it in San Francisco.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and that's how it got to Broadway. It didn't get to Broadway through any kind of mechanisms that I knew. He saw it, he said, if we can get stars, we can do it on Broadway.
So, but once you were able to do, was there ever a sense when you had another show that you thought would be popular enough to tour beyond New Federal's, off-Broadway walls? Did you think, let's try and get some producers here, let's find another Philip Rose. We have another show that could do as well or better on Broadway than Checkmates did, or that was never a thought?
No, that was never, Broadway is never an end in itself.
Mm-mm.
Make it an end in itself, you are in trouble. It's I've observed the mechanisms of Broadway. I've observed the mechanisms of filmmaking and off-Broadway, off-Broadway. So all of that, you got to know it if you work in it.
True. So what if someone were wanting to start a theater company in 2022, like a little off, not just anywhere, besides the great advice of get people who are real experts and know what they're doing, what else would you suggest in terms of building a theater company from scratch?
You must love the theater. You must love the play you're going to do. You must love the actors and the director. You must have seen their work. You cannot not have seen their work. You just can't hire people out of the blue. They expect to work with them 8 weeks. It is impossible.
Do you, since you're this overseer, because you get other people to direct most of the time for not just online, but over the years, other people have directed the show. So how, when do you watch the rehearsal process, or do you just you step away for a couple of weeks and let the director alone, or do you sometimes have to say that scene isn't working, do this?
Yeah. Yes, you do that.
Oh, you do that.
Yeah.
Because a producer,
you have a production meeting every week.
Oh wow.
There's a production meeting every week.
But have you ever clashed with a director seriously on a show where their vision is completely? So what happened? How did you resolve it? I mean, you were the boss, but how did you resolve it?
Honestly, I don't remember, but it was resolved because we went on.
Oh.
It must have been resolved because we kept going.
Well, we're going to keep going with the Dave's Gone By program here. We've been talking with WOODIE King Jr., but Woody, I want to give you the option, and you can or you can. This is totally up to you. But we have to bring Dave back into the neighborhood to do the Today Yesterday trivia quiz, where you get to answer trivia questions about this day in history, all things that happened on January 9th in history. Would you like to stay and play against our usual weekly contestants? There's no prize. It's just fun.
No, I wouldn't. Okay.
All right. Well, in that case, then I'm afraid we must abdicate WOODIE King Jr. But we want to thank you, first of all, for so much, for being part of the show, for taking the time to be with us on this Saturday. It remains for me to, first of all, wish you continued 83, 93, 153. You should live healthy and good, and your theater should stay healthy and good with you and long beyond you. This is what I hope for you. So.
Okay, and if you want to read some great Jewish plays, I've got them.
Oh, yes, please, and we'll trade. And I want to remind people, I'm sorry, that on January 17th at 4:00 Eastern Time, that is when you can see the virtual celebration of New Federal Theater's 50th anniversary online at New Federal Theater's website. So be there and donate.
You want me to give you the website?
Give it away. Do it.
www.newfederaltheater.com.
And is that R-E or E-R on the theater?
R-E.
R-E. NewFederalTheater.com. Yes.
We put it in the chat.
We even put the website in.
And the link to the film about
we put a link in our chat to it, so and a link to the film. So everybody definitely be there on the 17th, and be there to support New Federal Theater when they're doing readings, and of course when they come back to the Castillo Theater in, God willing, late 2021. Be well. Thank you so much for spending your time with us, and have a wonderful Shabbos.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
Shalom to you.